Good evening. My name is Charles Wong. I'm the Executive Director of Property Management of Jaya One. Welcome to our broadcast over Jaya One with respect to all matters concerning how we are operating over this COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to put on record that our recording is done on the 25th June 2020. The time is 8:02 p.m. As of today, our averaging of our COVID-19 count over the past 1 week since our last broadcast is averaging at 12 new cases, with the lowest cases reported on 23rd of June being 3 new cases. Again, this is yet another improvement for our country. In terms of statistics and feedback, we received 0 from residents. This is something new for us. And then as commercial, we received 7 from commercial. Out of the commercial complaints, we received 2 from online feedback, 0 from email, 1 from phone call, 2 from WhatsApp, and 2 from Jaya One Facebook. This is not surprising. We're seeing a bit more feedbacks coming from commercial. This is due to the fact that we are now at the RMCO period, and we can see a lot more offices moving back. They're experiencing a lot of the MCP movements that we put in place, and it's going to take time, I guess, for both sides to kind of retune in order to sort of accommodate one another. So I'm just going to move on. Before I move on to addressing the questions, I'd like to put on some other bigger updates. Our neighbor, Ryan and Miho, has been in touch with us for some time now to commence looking at how to construct the bridge to link to Jaya One. These sort of discussions have been held for over a year and a half now, and we've made disclosures at the EGM, and among the MC members has been discussed in great lengths. But in short, basically, we're at the stage where Ryan and Miho is ready to construct the bridge, and we're working with them to see how we're going to do this as easily, as quickly as possible. I'd just like to inform that we do anticipate that their commencement of works will most likely start sometime in mid-July. We'll be putting out notices to inform everyone in more detail over what the works involved. But essentially, the bridge will connect from Ryan and Miho side, which will connect to Block J, literally just behind Street Thai restaurant, on that section there. It is very much likely that there will be road closures and diversion to facilitate the works up to a period of 1 month, which means we will see entrances to P1 and P2 over on that section be closed, and we're going to have re-divert traffic moving for visitors moving to the Aeon Big site. Again, we'll come up with more details, but I'd like to just put out there that this is most likely is going to happen. The other area I'd like to also give an update is over the facade upgrade over in Block C and D facing Jalan 13/6. As you know, that particular section was scheduled for upgrading in line with the what was supposed to be Aeon Big's opening in March. There are problems there at the moment. As you can see, the works have kind of stopped halfway, and one of the key reasons is because the contractors can't continue with the works unless the aircon compressors belonging to the tenants is actually relocated to the new area, which is above the restaurant, where we have built this new a grill that you will see, this dark grey color grill. I think you'll see in the picture where this location is. So because of this issue, and tenants have essentially informed us that they don't have the funds to actually arrange for this relocation, the works have come to a standstill. I'd like to inform that a dialogue has been arranged with the owners and the tenants. It is scheduled on the 30th of September of this month. in order to see what are the options, in order to see how we can progress from that point. All right, I think those are about the updates that we have, and I'm going to move on to questions and answers. We have actually put out a notice whereby we intend to actually temporarily stop providing toilet rolls for those toilets in 129 office somewhere in about the period of July. And the notice that we put out briefly explains due to sort of conservation, whereby we do see the need for us to brace for what we will see is a financial impact for even the management corporation. There have been many requests from parcel owners across board to look at reduced service charge. While all the process in order to formalize and to address the area of reduction of service charge, it will be pending in the EGM. The management has not wasted time. As you can see, since March this year, March 18th of March, when the MCO came into effect, the management has already went all in to look at areas where we can cut cost. Even though we have come out of this MCO period and we are the RMCO, we are aware that a lot of business has been financially hit very badly. A lot of landlords are struggling in terms of receiving rents from their tenants, and the pressure on us to review areas where we can cut costs in order to facilitate the reduction of service charge is very real. I admit that this reduction of or cutting off toilet rolls may seem quite, at this point, insensitive, as I agree they are basic needs, and but I also like to inform the owners there that these decisions, they are also made collectively with consultations among the team and management, committee members, and so on and so forth. They are not easy decisions from their point of view, and so I guess at this point they are looking at all avenues to see where the areas they can cut. We have received not just one but several complaints over this area of toilet rolls. We are aware that they are not great decisions. So, but before I move to looking at how we're going to agree, or how we're going to compromise this situation, the first thing is I'd like to report on why this is so. Right, I'd like to put some facts out there. Prior to the MCO, this pre-MCO period, we use on average per month for the 129 office, serving those public toilets there, approximately 720 jumbo rolls. Now, as you know, when you go into the toilet, you see one jumbo roll in each toilet. So we go through on average about 720 jumbo rolls a month. Okay, so they've always been a particular cost to the management to facilitate the toilets, and I know even in the past there has been complaints that there isn't enough. That means the replenishment isn't fast enough when those jumbo rolls runs out. That's always been a sort of constant challenge for the management in order to meet the expectation, and even more so now because of this, this financial and economic area where we are. So, looking again, assessing the amount of complaints that are coming over this, I guess the management will review our position as far as cutting off the toilet rolls. It's a rather sudden move. I will go back and sort of rediscuss with the management and the committees to see whether there are other areas we can cut. But to be safe for us, we will take a compromise position whereby I think instead of about 720 jumbo rolls a month, we're gonna have to look at probably cutting it by half rather than the full 720. That would mean that on average we only get to we only able to issue one jumbo roll per toilet a day. If it runs out, we won't be able to replenish that on the same day. we're going to have to stick to a much more tighter budget. So I hope that the occupants and the tenants in 129 office can understand our challenge as well, and hope that, you know, in terms of just be a bit more careful when you use toilet rolls, and just be aware that they do cost the management a substantial amount of money on a per month basis. Yeah, the answer is yes. We can actually switch on this particular lift. This is the glass lift situated by the square that connects sort of level 1 of the square all the way down to level P2. We're going to put it out there effective on Monday. We're going to switch on the lift. I think we're going to probably give it a bit more generous timing from about 7:30 a.m. to about 12 midnight. We're going to leave that lift that make it accessible during that time. Well, I mean, we have weekly, we've been receiving complaints regarding the basement parking. We have actually made some attempts to brighten up some of the areas in the car park basement. With our last broadcast, we attempted to look at particularly block A and B in areas of P2 and P3, and we've already put that in effect in terms of trying to, you know, increase the lighting levels in those areas. Um, Look, this is a difficult situation for us. Okay, we can only, I think the car park will remain dimmed. We will try to increase the lighting levels in some areas. In some areas we absolutely can't because of the way the circuits are designed. So some areas particularly are going to be more dark than other areas. And it's probably going to carry, our worst case, we're hoping that we will be able to, we may have to put up with this until December. That will be our worst case. Let's just hope there won't be a second wave. So in the meantime, if things stay as steady as they are, and as long as the COVID-19 count remains low, then yeah, worst case is about December, because that's when I think financially, you know, we hope that things can recover when we get there. We've had a customer who've written in with about probably 3-4 questions over. There's someone that obviously her child goes to children's house, um, um, expressing her concerns and frustration over some of the areas in terms of some of the operations that our changes in operations and how that's affected this particular person and their child. So I like to just sort of generally address that. At this point, I don't feel the need to put the questions up for everyone to read. But if the person is watching, our head of customer service, Linali, she will be in touch with you in person to basically go through a more detailed explanation. But in essence, the first part essentially talks about the lighting level in about the where children's house actually is located. The fact that the lighting areas is particularly dark. As of Monday this week, we've actually adjusted the lighting level. We've actually switched on the area from about 8 a.m. onwards. I've also asked my guards to actually survey the areas to make sure that, you know, that those lights are switched on. I think we have some photos which we can put up, and you will receive from the photos that around the time those lights were on, we saw the first child sort of coming in about 8 a.m. So we're aware that, you know, so that would have worked. So that was done actually on Monday this week. Again, the second part kind of deals with areas of the car park. Concerns that was raised was there used to be a security guard that was designated at the parking base, where it was designated for mums and pregnant ladies and so on and so forth, and that guard seems to disappear. Well, in actual fact, she didn't disappear. She's actually now overseeing 2 floors, P1 and P2. Again, this is due to this kind of financial hardship that the Jaya One as a whole is going through. We need to try and make do with less, and so some cost savings had to be done in those areas there. And this guard now patrols up and down, which means that, you know, it is not certain that those bays reserved for these privileged bays are reserved for some of our customers are going to be guaranteed as much as it used to be. So we're going to see definitely some drop in terms of service areas there. But I'm also assured by my security and my customer service that around the 9:30 a.m., in fact the early mornings, there are sufficient enough bays to cater for drop-offs, particularly for parents with kids going to children's house. Um, we are admitting the fact that that it's not like before, okay, and so that's something that I guess we're all just trying to get by as well at the same time. The other part also looks at air conditioning. She raised air conditioning that it wasn't fair that the aircon would not be able to switch on from 8 a.m. And that we have suggested that to reschedule class to begin from 10 a.m. onwards. We're aware that we have no control over these things, and we can't tell children how to actually change their sort of schooling hours. It was mainly a suggestion in terms of what we put out there, because ultimately our aircon systems work a certain way. I think we've already covered that in the last broadcast. So far this week, I did mention in the last broadcast that we'll actually experiment this week to see what we can do to accommodate these various times. So we've actually start switching our air conditioning system on, our chiller plant on at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. Obviously that would mean that children's house aircon would be able to function from 8 a.m. and probably will function like normal. It will be cold. We don't know right now how by doing this will impact our chiller plant system. That's why we're running a test this week. We hope that the chiller plant, in terms of its efficiency, in terms of the equipment, will not be heavily impacted by the lack of users during this so-called early hours. We'll come back and report if they are, or if they are not. So we don't know anything yet, so we're going to use this week to test out the system. But I'd like to put out there that the absolute worst case situation is that if our chiller plant system were to fail, and the repair cost no doubt will be substantial, the downtime would mean that the school as a whole, together with the square, will not be able to have air conditioning. So this would be a very serious problem if the aircon system failed. So I hope that that everyone understands that we're not trying to do this because that it's not just a costing point of view. The system in effect is affected by the lack of users during those hours, and we hope that the testing will be successful. Okay, so stay tuned with us. We'll keep you updated on what happens, and we hope that ideally everyone gets to enjoy the air conditioning that they rightfully deserve. Thank you for bringing this up. So we are also equally puzzled that that particular door at Block D, usually around 6 p.m. the security guard will normally start to close the door, but they're not locked, as in the magnetic lock system will not be activated at 6 p.m. So if there are reasons that they are activated, which means the door is locked, that should not happen. So usually our magnetic lock system kicks in by about 8 p.m. at night. So we'll need to check on that. But like I say, our standard procedure usually means that at 6 p.m. those doors remain sort of open. However, if they are locked, you can actually use the intercom system to alert our security on the other side, whom will open the access for you. Okay, so we'll need to investigate this one. And but as I say, at 6 p.m. usually those doors are not armed yet in terms of security lock. We have already made one attempt to actually increase the lighting. If you look at the photo, there are these sort of LED sort of round down lights that you see literally sitting on those corridors. So we've decided to switch those on first. and then randomly where you see the slat ceilings between that corridor and our kitchen, we have actually one every 3 or 4 lights. We've actually switched on those light tubes there. So by doing this, we would have improved the lighting situation there in those areas. And we hope that this will be sufficient for the time being. So I'd like to summarize that. I think I'm glad to report that so far this particular channel and our broadcast has worked really, really well. I think I feel that there's a lot more trust in the system. I understand that between occupants, tenants, and the manager may not always agree in everything that we do, in sort of the decisions that we've made. Some of them are inconvenient, but what is great to know is that there's a certain trust that is developing towards the system in terms of how we stay in touch with each other. So much so that I'd like to continue this as long as possible. And even though we see businesses slowly reopening, and obviously from an operational standpoint, we are also being a bit more relaxed. Nonetheless, we always want to see that this idea of social distancing will continue to remain in place, and therefore operationally we're always going to be affected by that social distancing principles. And this is how we map and plan, how we operate on a day-to-day basis. Naturally, we see this broadcast to continue. I would like to at least announce that for the month of July, we are going to be very busy with focusing a lot more on the reopening for Jaya One. It may be strange to you to say that, okay, aren't we reopened? Yes, we're still the RMCO period. A lot of businesses are planning to make a comeback. Jaya One as well will also be looking at some campaigns in order to share with the market in terms of what Jaya One is doing, what new things are happening in Jaya One. So I guess the marketing team, who has been very, very graciously helping out in developing this broadcast channel, they're going to be very overwhelmed with work for the month of July. So most likely, I think for the month of July, we're going to have to reduce the broadcast to a fortnightly basis in order for them to accommodate, to work on a lot of the other areas, such as business reopening. We've got Aeon Big that's reopening. There's a lot of areas of marketing that needs to be dealt with. Also, we see another 4 new tenants opening along with Aeon Big opening. There's going to be a new section there. Operation, we'll look at where we start carrying out more marketing activities. So I think so they're going to be quite busy. And for the month of July, we're going to look at fortnightly. So I hope you can understand that. So I hope that will sit well for the time being until we hope that August we can come back to a weekly again. We're going to have to see how things go. In the meantime, I think I'd like to share with everyone that things are going well. They are not in the best circumstances, but we are generally seeing progress across Jaya One. Celebrity Fitness has reopened, followed by BUM has also reopened, and I think these are, and with Aeon Big reopening in the end of July, so we're going to see more and more activities coming back. So we are positive and we are hopeful that things will continue to improve, despite the economic and financial hardship that us and everyone will have to endure. So I want to thank everyone that has been with us and sharing the feedbacks with us and enduring some of the decisions that we put through in the operations. We want to thank and I want to appreciate that it's not been easy for you for you all as well. So but I hope everyone looks forward to a much better July, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated as well as possible. So in the meantime, stay safe and please help us stay ahead of the curve. Thank you.